John C. Maxwell. So in today's review, we're going to be looking at chapter 9, which is titled Get Over Yourself. Everyone else has. All right. And in this chapter, you're going to find topics like don't take yourself too seriously, don't focus on yourself, or stop taking yourself too seriously, stop focusing on yourself, start adding value to others continually, start putting the team first, and so on. So this chapter is just about you not taking yourself too seriously so that you can put other people ahead of yourself. You can have a value addition mindset, such that if you think about other people, you put them first, you care about them genuinely, all of this can eventually come back to you. All right. Don't get stuck inside your own ego, because it will become a prison in no time flat, says Barbara Ward. People who desire to fail forward must turn their attention away from themselves and towards helping others. You could call that process getting over oneself. A few years ago, the author said, John C. Maxwell, he said that he saw a beautiful movie called Mr. Holland's Opus that beautifully illustrated the whole process of you not putting yourself first and of putting other people first, looking for ways to see how you can help other people. So this movie started with a thank you. It started with the writer of the movie, Patrick Sheehan Duncan, while he was stuck in traffic, and he started thinking about when he was growing up, and he remembered his teachers, and he realized how his own teachers shaped his life and how they've been instrumental to him becoming who he was as of that time. He specifically remembered a special teacher who made a huge difference in his life. This teacher was considered to be the meanest and toughest teacher when he was in junior high school. But then he recalled that it was this same teacher who bought him books and gave him the clothes that this teacher's son had outgrown. So to him, that teacher wasn't mean, he wasn't tough. And then he decided to do this movie, to write this movie and produce it in memory of this teacher and other teachers who have been shaping lives, because they deserve it. So in that movie, there was the story of Glenn Holland, who actually wanted to become, he was a young musician and he wanted to become a big composer. But then when the family faced financial challenges, he needed to put food on the table and things like that, he opted to getting a teaching job. And that teaching job eventually became his life, because he couldn't even become a big composer anymore. What he did was that he started expressing his musical gift and talent to the students that he taught, until this big transition came about in his life. The school where he was teaching needed to cut down on the number of employees, and he was affected. He started thinking of his life. It was too late to become the big composer that he dreamt of becoming. It was too late to, according to him, to pursue his musical career. He had spent like 20 years of his life writing and all of these, as well as teaching. And while he was about to walk out of the school, dejected and downcast, he heard some noise coming from the auditorium. And when he decided to check, he saw that this noise was coming from a group of students whom he had taught in school. And this group of students included the governor of the state, whose life took a major turn for the better under the mentoring of Glenn Holland. All right. So this was a very touchy story, to the point that the director of this movie, Stephen Herrick, said that he was indeed attracted to this movie, Mr. Holland's Opus, because it touched him a great deal. In fact, he cried when he was reading the script of this story, because the story makes a hero out of an everyman who happens to be a teacher, which he thinks that is an important thing to do, because teachers are indeed selfless. For you to be, I used to teach in primary school, schools. I've taught in primary schools, secondary, and even universities. And I think that is one of the hardest things to do. University level is still okay because you're pretty much dealing with adults, people who can think for themselves. But you see, primary school, I've even taught at nursery level before, kindergarten and all of that. Taking care of other people's children, especially children who cannot even talk, right? You have to think for them. You have to make sure that they come to no harm. You have to make sure that they are happy, they learn, and at the same time, their well-being is in good shape, right? And now that I'm a mother, I know how tough it is to be taking care of the two children that I have, right? Because it's not just about giving them money, giving them food and everything. You have to be there for them spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, in every way that you should, because you don't want to fail as a parent. Now imagine it as a teacher having like 20 of these children in my class, and their parents expect you to take good care of them. They must learn, and at the same time, they must be happy. The parents must not come back and then you say, oh, something happened to this child. This child fell while he was playing. You're going to be in trouble. So it is a tough job to do. Up onto primary level, secondary level, they expect you to shape lives. Even some parents don't have time for their children as much as teachers do, because these teachers now take it as a ministry. To me, teaching job is like a ministry. It is not just a job, right? I feel that this light is kind of dull. All right, so that movie was written in honor of, sorry, I'm checking my lights. In honor of teachers. I'm so sorry, my ring light is bad. My LED light is also bad. So I'm managing the lights that I have. All right, so the movie is also a story about how one human being can affect a lot of other people and touch their lives in a very special way. Many people believe that touching the lives of others can be done only by some elite group of specially gifted people or people that have money. Oh, it is only people that have money that can become philanthropists or that can give gifts or help other people. No, that is not the case. Any ordinary person, like Glenn Holland that we saw in this story, in the movie, can make a positive impact on the lives of other people. So this is the mindset that you need to cultivate in your own little way. How are you helping other people? How are you making sure that you become a person of impact to the lives of others? Because no matter how bad you think that you have it, there are some people that you are better than. There are some people that still desire to have what you have. So in your own little way, you can give back to them. Some unsuccessful people tell themselves that as soon as they achieve considerable success or discover some unseen talent, they will turn their attention to making a difference in the lives of other people. But then, many people who struggle with chronic failure do so because they think of no one else but themselves. If you are waiting until you have everything before you become a person of impact to other people, I tell you, even if you become a person of, even if you become wealthy and successful, you still may not touch the lives of other people if it is not something that you are already used to doing. If you are not used to giving people things when you don't have much, even when you have much, you may still not be able to give other people. We know so many rich people who are stingy, so many people who are living for themselves and their families alone. That is even if they are living for their families, right? So if you continually focus all your energy and attention on yourself, I have a message for you. Get over yourself, because everyone else has. Everyone else has. So get over yourself. Stop focusing on yourself. Stop taking yourself seriously. Stop having the mentality of me, myself, and I. Everything is me. Give me, give me, give me. You always want to receive, right? If you have a history of repeated failure and you dedicate most of your time and energy to looking out for number one, you always want to be the first. You may need to learn a new way of thinking. And this new way of thinking is where others come first, where they come ahead of you. This is tough as human beings, because an average human being is selfish. We are always thinking of ourselves. Oh, how I'm going to get that, how my life will be better, how my well-being is going to be okay, how my mental health will not be affected, and things like that. But if you suspect that a selfish streak is preventing you from achieving your goal and dreams, you may need to change and improve improve your approach to success. So stop focusing on yourself. You need to think about others rather than yourself. A major cause of negative thinking and poor mental health is self-absorption. People will focus everything on themselves. If you let go of selfishness, then you see that you will be better. If you devote your time and energy to helping other people, unfortunately, this is lacking in our world today, right? Everybody is saying, oh, think of yourself first, think of yourself first, which is not a bad idea because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to be in good shape for you to be able to help others. But when you are in good shape, make sure that you also think of other people, how you can be of help. Because selfishness is going to hurt you. Generous people are really mentally ill people because they give out, and there is truly fulfillment when you give out to other people. So stop taking yourself seriously. Stop taking yourself seriously. John Maxwell says that in his seminars, he works with a lot of leaders, and he had found out that many of them take themselves too seriously. Of course, they are not alone. He met people in every walk of life who have too much doom and gloom, too much sadness and sorrow in their attitudes. They need to lighten up. No matter how serious your work is, that's no reason to take yourself seriously. Loosen up, cheer up. Life is not that hard, right? It only becomes hard when you take it to be hard. This is one lesson that we all need to learn. You need to do away with my job, my family, or my life, my mental health, and all of that. Relax, right? And I'm also taking a big lesson from this. So try to laugh more often. Laughter is the shortest distance between two people, says Victor Borge. Try to laugh, try to cheer up. You want to buy something, at least give the seller a smile. One thing that I've discovered is that if you give somebody a smile, you are likely to get a smile in return. And that is the truth. Sometimes when I go to a place, maybe like an office that I'm not used to going, it could be my first time. The moment I get there, I want to greet the receptionist or whoever I'm meeting first with a smile, right? I just want to brighten up, the atmosphere. Because if you appear tensed and you are frowning, the person too will become kind of tensed up and they will be replying you in that tensed mode. But if you cheer up and then give the person a smile like, oh, good morning, how are you today? Hope everything is fine. I'm here to see Mr. Bello. The person will feel relaxed. And they are more likely to be more friendly towards you. That is one thing that I have discovered. So if I don't want people to be hostile towards me, I would rather also lighten up my own mood. Okay. So if you tend to take yourself too seriously, give yourself and everyone else around you a break. Recognize that laughter breeds resilience. Start putting the team first. If you follow sports these days, you've heard a lot of talk about the selfishness of professional athletes, right? If you watch football or any ball, basketball, everybody wants to be like the champion. Sometimes when I'm watching football, you'll be wondering, this guy should pass it on to that person now. This person is closer to the goalpost. Sorry, I'm not able to use all the technical terms like defender and all of that, expecting that person should pass the ball to the one that can easily make a pass and score. But no, this person wants to be the one to score, to take all the glory. And at the end of the day, the person may not be able to score. And the audience is angry that is selfishness. If only he had passed the ball to that other person, the person, maybe the striker, is it striker they call it? The person might have been able to score and it's going to be a win for the team. But many professional athletes are actually selfish. And this is true. Sorry, I don't like the brightness of this light. It's dull. Everyone is an expert as a spectator. I agree with you, but truly, some athletes are actually selfish. They want to be the one to score, and things like that, right? There is a very story here of a guy named David Robinson, who won so many awards in his life, and he brought his team to victory in 1998. Sorry, in the 1999 NBA champions, right? He brought his team, the San Antonio Spurs, he brought them to victory. Because in his life, in like his 10 years in the NBA, he had earned just about every type of award there is for a professional basketball player. He won the Rookie of the Year in 1990. He won the Rebounding Champion in 1991. He won the Defensive Player of the Year in 1992. He won the #1 shot blocker in 1992, #1 scorer in 1994, and Most Valuable Player in 1995. He also had been named the NBA All-Star Team 8 times. His consistently excellent play has put him in the upper echelon. Was it echelon? Sorry, bad English. Statistically, in several all-time, he had won all kinds of awards. Despite all of his personal achievements, he had never won an NBA champion until he played this 1999 game. And how did he win this? He won it by putting another person first. He passed on the ball to another player, Tim Duncan, to allow him to win. And Tim Duncan eventually passed on the ball and scored and won, becoming the hero of the match. And that brought the entire team to victory. If he had held on to that ball, he may not have won and the team would have lost. So eventually, he won his first championship by having a team spirit. Many of us will put in our CV, go and check your CV. I'm sure you have it there. Oh, I'm a good team player and things like that. But in real life, oh, echelon, thank you. But in real life, these are some of the words that, that we don't say every day. So you are confused. Echelon, okay. But in real life, are we good team players? Or we always want the credit to ourselves? Because the results of what Robinson did, the result of his unselfish ability to put the team ahead of himself, was success for everyone on the team. If you want to win and overcome failure, you've got to get over yourself. It may be hard because we all want attention on ourselves. We all want, the spotlight on ourselves, right? That is an average human being for you. So allow other people to win. If they win eventually, it may also be a win for you. Start adding value to other people continually. I hope we are really getting something from this, because these are some lessons that we need to be practical about, not just learning it. Because as I was reading this, some of the things that I had in mind to do sometime this year just started coming back to me. I've never had the time to do them because I've been so busy doing so many things at the same time. And as I was reading this, they started coming back to me, like doing outreaches, motivating students, doing so many things, especially outreaches, giving out to students, to young people, coaching them, mentoring them. I've really had it in mind, but because of my busy schedule, I've really not had the time. But now I think I have to start doing it, even if it is to start doing it, like dedicate some time to it once in a week. I am going to start probably by the end of this month. And I am saying it so that I will have that sense of commitment. Sometimes when you say some things out, right, it helps you to push for it because you've committed yourself. So help me God, I'm going to start. I'm not even going to say, oh, the year is almost ended. I will start like that and continue next year. So I really want you to have this same mentality. Start adding value to other people in your own little capacity. Nothing is too small. That's 1,000 naira or $10 that you think is too small may just become somebody's, what will save somebody, what they are going to be grateful for, what can bring somebody out of misery, what can put a smile on somebody's face. All right. When people think about you, what do they say to themselves? Do they say my life is better because of that person? Or do they say my life is worse because of that person? Their response probably answers the question of whether you are adding value to them or not. The author, John Maxwell, recounted a time when he and his family moved to Atlanta a few years ago, and they made new friends. They had these new friends, Howard and Doris Bowen. And Doris happened to be celebrating her birthday, and many people came to celebrate with her. And they all had very wonderful testimonies about Doris. Even John Maxwell said that at a time that he had a heart attack, in 1998, and he had to be in and out of the hospital for several tests. Doris was there with Margaret, John's wife, John Maxwell's wife, keeping up with her, taking care of her, making sure that she was okay at that challenging period, even though they had just met, right? And she was always doing that kind of things for others. She was indeed a wonderful friend. Everybody had something pleasant to say about her. And when it was time for Doris to speak, she said, all my life, I have wanted people to feel like they were better for knowing me. Thank you for making me feel like I've made a difference. This is a good testimony. To succeed personally, you must try to help others. That is why Zig Ziglar says, you can get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. How do you do that? How can you turn your focus from yourself and start adding value to others? You can do it in these three ways. These are not the only ways, but let's just say these three ways according to this book. Number one is putting others first in your thinking. When you meet people, is your first thought about what they will think of you or how you can make them feel more comfortable? Maybe at work, in your family, at church, in your neighborhood, everywhere. Put yourself ahead of other people. When you know people's values, you can add value to them, right? Don't put yourself first. Number two, finding out what others need. What do they spend their lives doing? What do they spend their time, their money on? That's where you find out what they need and you can minister to them through their needs. Number three, meeting that need with excellence and generosity. A lot of people want to meet other people's needs, but they do it grumbling. Just take this money. They do it as if you are forcing them to do that favor. If you have made up your mind to help another person, then do it excellently. Do it generously. There are some kinds of help that people will render to you and you'll be feeling bad, like, yeah. So this person is helping me by force. As in, you feel very guilty. You feel very terrible, like you're a burden to them. So don't make people feel like they're a burden to you just because you're helping them. If you've made up your mind to help them, then make them feel good about it. Don't let them get home and feel like they literally took that money out of your pocket, you know. So do it generously, do it cheerfully. Behind every great man, this is the last subheading we're going to be considering, and it is the story of John Wesley. Not just about John Wesley, but his mother. I'd read this story before, but reading it again just refreshed my memory. The author says, when I think of some of the notable figures in history who were able to minister to people's needs and perform great service, one of the first who comes to mind is John Wesley, who founded the Methodist movement. He was a leader who served God unselfishly his entire life. But then I consider someone else in his family to have been more selfless than he, and in fact, to have made his achievements possible through her service. And that person was John Wesley's mother, Susanna Wesley. She was like the 24th child of a well-to-do family in London. She was intelligent. She was a daddy's pet. But then she did not have formal education because as at that time, female children were not really considered. You know, they were not given formal education in England at that time. But her daddy really loved her. Like we said, she was her father's pet. Her daddy loved her. Her father would allow her to stay in his study. And anytime her father had to discuss politics or philosophy or any debate with some other people, she would be there. So she was very, very intelligent. She was a smart girl. She got married at the age of 19 to Samuel Wesley, a young clergyman. But then they did not really succeed financially. But in spite of all of this, she was able to make an indelible mark. She dedicated herself to caring for her family selflessly, even though at that time, middle-class women didn't work outside the home. She gave herself a more than full-time job. She would pray for her family. She would take care of her household. She managed the family's finances because her husband was a poor money manager. Even when her husband went to debtor's prison, right, for like 3 months. Susanna Wesley, John Wesley's mother, did everything that she could to make sure that the children were fine, to make sure that they lacked nothing good. She prayed for them, and she would teach her children 6 hours. She gave them education. Home, what do they call it now? She homeschooled them 6 hours a day, every day, apart from Sundays. Yes, that was the magnitude of work, the magnitude of her selflessness towards her family, towards her children. She gave herself to the moral and intellectual instruction of her 3 sons and 7 daughters. She made it the object of her life. She was so dedicated. She had performed an incredibly selfless act. And in the process, she had given up a lot, right? For the course of 21 years of her life, she gave birth to 19 children. She gave birth, I calculated her age. She got married at 19. And for 21 years, she was having children. Like, that means like until she was 40 years old. She gave birth to 19, even though only 10 of them survived, right? You were really giving birth those days. So. Right. So the impacts of her selfless act towards her children were not, or was not, in vain, because one of her children, Charles, was an influential clergyman and has been called one of the greatest hymn writers of all time. And John Wesley is considered by many to have shaped England more than any other person of his generation. His impact on Protestant Christianity is still quite remarkable. You may not be able to give your family the time that Susanna Wesley gave to hers, but what matters is that you give all you can to the people who are important to you. And you can do that only if you learn to get over yourself. If you are not a self-centered person, if you are not the kind of person that have this mentality of me, myself, and I, be more concerned with what you can give rather than what you can get. Because giving truly is the highest level of living. You might have heard the statement that give and it will come back to you. If you want money to come to you, give money. If you want to learn, teach other people, right? In fact, one of the ways to learn and to make what you learn stick better to you is to teach other people. The way I'm teaching you lessons from the books that we read and review, I can hardly forget, right? So I'm also doing myself a whole lot of good by teaching. When I motivate people, when I inspire them, I also feel motivated and inspired. So whatever you give is going to come back to you. If you give hatred, it is going to come back to you. I said the other time that if you want people to smile back at you, smile at them. No matter how good, no matter how bad their day is, if you give somebody a smile, at worst, the person will give you a plastic smile like, that is the way it works. It is just natural. So get over yourself and start giving yourself. If a selfish streak has been keeping you from getting over yourself, examine your attitude and determine to make meeting the needs of other people a priority in your life. You can start by asking yourself the following questions daily, either at the beginning or at the end of each day. Ask yourself, whom am I pouring my life into? Then ask yourself, whom am I helping? Who cannot help me in return? Ask yourself, whom am I lifting? Who can't help himself? Then ask yourself, whom am I encouraging daily? If you will act with the interest of others in mind every day, you will soon be able to give concrete, affirming answers to these questions. I'm really, really happy about my life, especially when it comes to what I do, when it comes to teaching, lecturing, content creation, and all of these things, because I get a lot of messages. Even though when I started, I didn't even think much of it, like, people can be benefiting so much from this. But I get messages like, it was as if you were just talking to me. All your content is like you're talking, God bless you, And I see many people who are making moves, yes, on social media, who are now creating content, who are also doing their own things. And they come to my DM to say, thank you. You encourage me, you push me. I used to be a shy person. I used to be laid back. Somebody will say to me, it is as if the Holy Spirit was just using you to minister to me. I never thought of this when I started. Like, okay, I'm a minister. One person said, oh, you're like a prophet. Several of those comments, and it just gives me fulfillment. It gives me a lot of fulfillment, like the little things that we do that go a long way in shaping people's lives. There are some people that cannot help themselves. There are some people that don't have the kind of courage, the kind of confidence that you have. But when they see you do some things, you give them that courage and confidence. That is why you should not hold back. That is why nothing is too small. It doesn't all have to be about money or material things. You have the confidence. You are good at talking. You are good at teaching. You are good at motivating and inspiring. That is also a way to give. Don't say, oh, I don't have the time. Oh, I'm too busy. You just never know. And if you want to change the world, don't try to change everybody. Try to change one person. Imagine the people that are now, doing their own content because they saw me doing it. Now, other people are going to be following them on social media. Those people may not be following me directly, but they'll be following this other person, and it has a ripple effect, right? Think about it this way. So don't hold back, whatever it is. And it has to be money. No matter how little it is, $2, £5, 1,000 naira, a family may use it to eat, and they may not starve. They may not get ulcer just because they're able to eat dinner because of you, right? So nothing is actually too small. Every day, think of being a blessing to other people. There are some people that will pray for money. God should bless them with money. From now till eternity, God will never bless them because they have a wrong motive. They are selfish. The Bible says you ask and you receive not, because you ask for the selfish reasons, because your motive is wrong. God looks at our motives. He knows that once you have that money, all you want to do is to oppress people. All you want to do is to just acquire cars and cars. All you want to do is to build one big mansion, have 10 rooms in it, when you can only sleep in one room at a time, right? So that is why God will never bless some people. He knows that once he blesses them, they are even not going to serve him again. They are going to be going clubbing now. They'll be having meetings, jumping from one country to another. They won't have time to serve the same God that blessed them. So change your motive. Let your motive be right. Life is not only about you. It does not revolve around you alone. You are not truly living until you are living for others. Until you have this mentality, how can I help somebody? How can I put a smile on somebody's face? All right. Think about all of those things. Thank you so much. God bless you for tuning in. And thank you for being a part of this. If I'm giving and teaching and you're not here to receive it, then it is also going to be demoralizing. So also thank you for giving your time, for giving all of your comments, your wonderful comments, and your encouragement. It is also a way of giving. So thank you so much. We've come to the end of the review of chapter 9. All right. Don't forget to like this video. Please drop all of your comments in the comment section below. And please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. Tomorrow, we're going to meet and review chapter 10, which is titled, Grasp the Positive Benefits of Negative Experiences. It is going to be another exciting review. Until then, be intentional. Bye.